I really don't want us to leave anything out. I don't want to leave any stone unturned, Mihla. So you mentioned that you attended St. James, were one of the top performing academics there, I believe. So I just want to understand at what point did you start thinking about, oh, you know what? I want to do this for my career, or I'm looking into this. This is the stream. Also, what stream did you first enroll in for at St. James? Was it science? Was it commerce? And then eventually, when you did that, what did that look like? Were you intentional already that I'm going to do commerce or I'm going to do science, and then in the end, I'm going to be a scientist or whatever? Did you already have a painted picture of what you wanted to do?
So that is actually interesting because when I was in primary school, somewhere in grade 8, that's when I started, had a subject called Economics Management Science, EMS, I think. So then I fell in love with it, like at that time. But obviously, because I think I was quite good with my academics at that time, I was very flexible. Like I did not care exactly on as to what do I do. But I had this imagination that, you know what, because accounting at that time was very prominent, I was like, I need to do accounting. So I need to pass EMS, get into accounting in high school, and then do accounting in university. That was like my first go-to. But then when I applied at St. James, then the accounting stream was full. And then they're like, it's full, but you know what? We can put you with the physics students. And then I was like, I don't know, but okay. And then the plan was that, okay, I do physical science, maths, which is the science stream. And then from there, I bridge back to accounting. But obviously, life had other plans for me. So I did science in high school. But, when you're in high school, you actually not certain on as to what you really want. So you keep on, finding possible careers. But back at home, back in the Eastern Cape, when you are smart, the go-to career is medicine. So my parents wanted a doctor so bad, like they did. So I thought at some point I was going to be a doctor, and I had accepted it. You know what? I'm going to do medicine, and it's where I'm going to be. And sometime in grade 12, though, at St. James, they had like these schools like Stellenbosch, like we call them track, that would come to our schools and, they'd help us apply in universities for whatever careers that we're looking into. So then this guy came to our school. I think his name was Mr. Mazinga. He came to our school, and then I told him that, you know what, I do think I want medicine, but my problem is I feel like I have so much empathy. I don't think I'd make a good doctor. Like, I will literally cry when I see blood. So I don't think it actually aligns with me so much. But then I also don't know what else to do, because at that time I had already taken accounting out of my mind. And I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. And then he's like, I see you good with maths. And I'm like, yeah, I am. And he's like, there's this something called Actuarial Science that people do. I'm like, Actuarial Science? And then he's like, yeah, you could try Actuarial Science. It's heavy on maths, and it's for people who actually enjoy and love maths. And I'm thinking, I have never heard of this thing ever before, and I have never heard or seen anybody who actually says that they did this thing. So it was quite like something foreign to me. So then I started looking back to see who could I relate to that actually did this thing. And that's when I looked at the previous top achievers at my school, and then that's when I saw like a couple of people that actually did it. And then but obviously there were stories around them, like they went crazy in university. Like, it's so hard. So that was also like quite frightening for me. But I was like, it's not medicine. I know that I don't want to do medicine right now.
Yeah.
So it has to be this new thing, actuarial science. So then I started telling people, oh, I'm going to be doing actuarial science in uni. I'm going to be doing actuarial science in uni. But what is actuarial science? I couldn't explain it to anybody. And that was like a challenge because now I have to go home to my parents and be like, hey guys, I'm sorry, but I'm not doing this doctor thing anymore. I found
Change of
something new.
plans.
Yes, I found something new, and it's this actuarial science, and I don't know how to explain it to you, but it's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is how I ended up in actuarial science. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I really love when you say I needed to go back and look into people who look like me who did this, because we are so big on tangible representations of dreams realized. Because someone's going to ask, have you ever seen any other person do this, particularly a Black person? Where are you going to be employed? You don't have the luxury of time. You need to do something that's going to earn you a living. So I really love that you did your research. You're like, let me look for people who look like me with the relatable stories. And despite the noise about, ooh, people went crazy because now they were too smart and now they're going crazy, I still wanted to do this, which speaks to your courage again. I really like that. So I want to understand, when you actually decided, this is what I want to do, I'm applying now, putting in that university application, when the response came through, what did that mean for you and your family and your parents?
Because I was doing grade 12 at the time of the application, so I went through the application by myself. And then later on, the guys that were assisting us with the application, which is the track guys, they also assisted me applying in other universities as well. But particularly, I wanted Wits. I had no particular reason; it was just something my heart wanted. While I sent through the application, I remember I was just happy to send through a university application because now it hit real that, oh, I'm actually leaving high school next year. This is it. And then I'm going to be starting somewhere new again. This time around, I'm more excited about it. And, I did not tell my parents at that time because I was still in university. I thought it was a conversation that we actually needed to have sitting down together so that I can break it down to them that, yo guys, this thing, it's not gonna work. So I kind of delayed it. So I would apply for actuarial science as my first choice, put medicine as a backup, and then something else also in the maths field, because I thought like, oh, I really like numbers and this is something that I wanted. So the only time that my parents actually ever found out that, hey, this girl is not doing medicine was at the end of the year. So we finished school and then we went back home. And then I'm like, I received also my high school teachers. They called me. So when you're a top achiever, this is something I'm putting you on. When you're a top achiever, they know beforehand and they actually call you beforehand. So they called me. They're like, Mihla, you did so great. You're a top achiever and whatnot, not. We're going to be inviting you to these award ceremonies, not. You need to actually prepare for that. And then I was like, oh, okay. And that time I was alone at home. And then I remember I screamed so bad, like, I did it. And then later on that evening, my parents came back from work. And then now I'm like, oh, I received this particular call and it actually said this and that. And the subject that I did very well in was mathematics. No, I'm lying. It was physics, actually.
Ooh.
Yeah, but mathematics was the second best. So I'm like, I did very well in physics and maths. I did okay in life science, I guess. So I think that I would like to pursue this one thing that actually is physics and maths intense. And they're like, oh, okay, what is this thing? I'm like, it's called actuarial science. They're like, what do actuaries do? Well, they said actuarial scientists do. And then I'm like, I had done a little bit of research like over the time now. I had already met like a few people, particularly my school brought me Pico to actually talk to, who was somebody who was a top achiever in the previous year and actually did actuarial science as well. So I got to have a conversation with him, to try to understand, oh, hey, what is this thing? What do you do like when you are an actuary and all of that? So Pico had put a bit of light in as to what is actually an actuary. So then I'm explaining to them. But one takeaway was that you are able to predict when somebody is going to die. So then this is what I want to do, because I want to predict like when people can actually die and actually use probabilities and all of that. So I'm like, so when you're in actuary, you're going to be predicting the possibilities of people dying, and then premiums, insurance. It was all of these things that were all over the place, but I was trying to paint a picture to them on as to this is what I will be doing. And they were not impressed. I won't lie, especially my mom. My mom wanted a doctor at heart. Like, she wanted a doctor so bad. And then now she's hearing this new something that is out of nowhere. But then she did not have a choice at that time, because I was like adamant that this is what I want and this is what I'm going to do. So I gave them time to think about it. They still had like a hope at heart that, maybe later on I'm going to decide on medicine, and later on never came. I actually decided on actuarial science. Yeah. So that is how it all went. They just accepted along the way, and then they also put in some, I guess, lessons for themselves to try learn about this thing along the way as I was traveling the journey. Yeah.
I really love that you stood your ground, and said, this is what I want, and whatever it takes, I'm going after it. You don't see the long-term vision, but I know what I want. And today they realize, ooh, we're glad you stood your ground, young lady. I love that for you. So, okay, you get your university acceptance. You eventually move to university now. How did that look like for you? Did you already have funding? Did you struggle with accommodation, funding, and the transition to university life now, given that you were a top achiever at St. James?
With funding, I did not struggle, fortunately, because when you're a top achiever, you get invited to these ceremonies, and they actually do offer bursaries. So I had received an MEC bursary from the Eastern Cape. That was not an issue, and even moving to university, it was not an issue, because I was already staying at a boarding school in high school, so the transition was not so bad. I was more familiar with staying away from home now, and I got to uni. I remember it just felt like boarding school, just with more freedom. Like, because now nobody's actually on your case about anything. You do what you want and what not. So that is actually when I realized, oh, now I have to have discipline by myself. But I did not struggle with that. However, when I got to uni, it became real. It became real. So what happened is that, so now I'm coming from St. James. I was a top achiever, and being a top achiever is all I have known all my life. Like, I remember at some point I couldn't comprehend in my head, honest to, how is it that people study and they actually do not get the results that they actually are trying to meet. So when I got to uni, I remember my first test. My first test, it was a maths test, and it was a TAT test. So we wrote this test. I had prepared, I had studied, I was ready. I thought I was ready. We get there, I wrote, I got out of the paper. I'm not sure I'm not sure what happened there. And then the results come back, and I remember I had gotten a 30%. I'm gonna say that.
And you're thinking, me.
And I'm like, me? Because now I'm coming back from 90s, hundreds, and then I'm dropping down to a 30% for my first test. And I'm like, I don't think this thing is for me. Maybe this thing is not for me. But then I'm thinking, what else can I do? I don't want medicine. I remember trying to look if I can still get into medicine, the universities that gave me an offer for medicine, if we can actually talk this through, make something up. But then it clicked to my mind that on one of the conversations that I actually had with Pico in grade 12, he told me that, you know what, those things, they happen, like you become the smart student and you get into this course. Everybody is smart here, but it's gonna be different journeys for different individuals when you get there. So then I'm like, I remember, I think I called him because I had his numbers. I called him. I'm like, I'm freaking out. This happened. And he's like, it happens. It happens all the time. Like, we all experiencing it. It's nothing. It doesn't determine whether you're actually going to complete this degree or not. And then I had to put it in my head that, okay, this is the new change now. This is the new me now. It's this thing. This is my new life now. I'm going to experience failures, and this is not the first failure, and it's not going to be the last. The main thing now is, how do I bounce back? How do I try to redeem myself? How do I make sure that the goal remains the goal, which is to complete this degree that is foreign from where I come from, so that like the young ladies that come after me have somebody to look up to. So yeah, it was a bit of a challenge. That's all I'm gonna say.